Let me connect my.
Hey,
I think
we're live and it's Wednesday. I am so glad it's Wednesday because I love hanging out with Chris Logan. He is the bomb, virtual wholesaler expert coach. He has a huge following on his Facebook. I hope you look him up. We'll share some links later. Just get the crowd warmed up so they can find us. But we're live streaming today on 2 Facebook accounts. Our group, we're just blasting it out today to get the word out, Chris. We're on YouTube, and I just love this technology, how we can reach so many people. And I just hope that those that are scrolling by will stop on in and say hello and really engage in the valuable content. You know, we're not just talking heads here. We really don't want to just waste time just saying a lot of things. And we really, truly understand how important it is to zero in on a small group of people that you might follow, or something that you set apart in your schedule on a weekly basis that is particularly meaningful and helpful and actionable and simplified. That's one of the things we love to bring to the table here, is creating a simplified approach to virtual wholesaling. Why? Because when you hear some of the results that Chris Logan has gotten and developed over the last decade as he's pursued this path on his entrepreneurial business path, you'll see the high level of success that he's obtained, and as a result of that brings that value here to share with you, so you don't have to go looking all over creation to find it. Hey everybody, say hello to us, drop your name in the comments, let us know from where you're at, and if you'd like to even share where you market. These types of lives can be an incredible opportunity to network with other people in the comments. I'll tell you what, Chris, my very first deal was a result of communicating in the comments on a live stream like this with some guru guy out there that I would have never thought I'd be talking to one right now. But at that time, I was brand new, and I thought the only way to really get into the game is to go all in. And so I went all in, and I just took the risks and said, hey, here I am. I'm in Colorado. Let's connect. Lo and behold, a week or two later, I was walking a property, and it was our very first wholesale deal. And it was a result of being bold and putting your name out there and not being afraid. Hey, Peg, hey, Facebook user, let us know who you are, where you are from, your name. That would be helpful. All right, so we've got a few people on the call. And of course, I'd love to have dozens more. Invite your friends, share the link, people that are here. That would be very helpful. But in the meantime, I'd like to introduce Chris Logan. He is our very special expert that is in my group, the real estate wholesaling group. And if you're in there, you'll know why, because Chris brings so much light and so much simplicity to what he does that it's contagious, really. And so as we bring Chris on week after week, we've had more and more people, I think gaining some traction and getting a little more serious about their business. So that to me is value add plus return on investment. And that's why Chris is here. He's a multi-7-figure virtual wholesaler and coach from Florida. He's been doing this business for over about 10 years now, left the big corporate America high-level sales position and strategized building his business on the side while still working full-time plus, I'm sure. So we're excited to see the real deal here in my community. Chris, welcome on in and say hello and introduce yourself to those that may or may not know who you are.
Yeah, Tracy, thanks for that awesome introduction. Love it. I love being a part of these groups. Every week when I have this marked up in my calendar, I look forward to it because your group is amazing. A lot of people engaging in here, and just some awesome people. I've had the pleasure of talking to some people in the group here on one-on-one, and just great group of people we have here in the community. So thank you again. But for those of you guys who don't know me, like Tracy said, I've been doing this for around 10 years. We made the decision to go virtual 2 years before COVID. And, we just did it at the right time. And while a lot of people found themselves stuck during COVID when people were locked in their houses, we were thriving. And it was actually one of the best years we've had in business, right? So we went all in on virtual 100%. So we do all of our deals, wholesaling houses from home, anywhere in the country. We're in multiple states. And now we have a passion of showing other people how to do that same thing. Completed over 600 deals. So I've come across pretty much every situation you can think of. And now what I really enjoy doing is giving back and providing value to people in groups like this. So that being said, guys, today, I'm really excited to have you all here. I see Andrea Connolly. Awesome. Welcome, welcome. Peg's on. Very cool. Love seeing Peg here. And, guys, something I'm very passionate about is making things simple, just like Tracy said, right? Can we all agree here, all right, that there is too much opportunity out there right now, right? People are drowning in opportunity. There's so many YouTube videos. There's so many courses, coaches. There's so many different programs, ways you can make money in real estate. And when you're first getting started, it can feel a bit overwhelming, right? Even down to like, if you're a little bit more advanced, you've done a couple of deals, you've been doing this for a while, even something as simple as like picking a tool to use can be overwhelming and spread you really thin, right? And I feel like that a lot of people today are just like, man, this is crazy. All the likes, dings, pings, swings, swipe left, swipe right, who's hot, who's not, all that, right? You just really want to find out what should you do? What's your next step, right? So that's what I'm here to do today, guys. I'm here to help you get started in virtual wholesaling so you can take steps, right? My goal is to give you more info for free than most people pay for. And I really am passionate about you guys taking next steps in this and just blowing it up and creating the lifestyle and financial freedom that you want. Because let's be honest, one of the main reasons why people get into virtual wholesaling, and wholesaling specifically, is because they want to create financial freedom. Maybe you're in a job that you don't like. Maybe you feel like, you're not living up to your true potential. Maybe you feel like there's just more for you out there, but you've kind of been a deer in the headlights with what's my next step? What should be the next step that I take, right? So I want to clear all that up. And today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be covering, the baby steps to getting started wholesaling houses from home, okay? So today, we're going to cover 3 very important things. We're going to cover mindset. We're going to talk about picking territories and then picking a marketing channel. Those are the 3 things that we're going to talk about today. This is actually going to be a double series, I guess, if that's what you call it. We're going to have one today, and then we're going to do the other half of it next week, right? So you're going to want to make sure you're here for both weeks because we're going to dive in. And when you leave today, you're going to know exactly what you should do and take next steps in virtual wholesaling, right? So go ahead and, like Tracy said, go ahead and comment in the comments like where you're watching from. I'd love to see where you're watching from and seeing all the people come together. I know we got like a huge group here, so it's very, very cool to see you guys engaging. And keep in mind that I give in proportion to the engagement that I get, right? I'm really big on that, right? So if you guys engage a lot, I'm going to pour into you like no other, right? But if you don't engage too much, then maybe you'll just get the surface. I'm kidding. I'm still going to give. Let's go. Love it. Love it. Prescott, Arizona.
Oh, yes.
Cool. Awesome. Okay, great. Yeah. So let's go ahead and dive in. So I'm going to go ahead. Weatherford, Texas. All right. I'm going to go ahead and share the my tab I got here for this mind map. Now, here's the thing, guys. Before we dive into this, all right, something that can help you all a lot, all right, is picking your person. So let's talk about what that means, right? So there was a game-changing piece of advice that I heard from Grant Cardone a long time ago when Grant Cardone was just starting in his marketing, sales, real estate career, whatever you call it. I caught him at the very beginning of that. And he said something that really resonated with me. And I think it'll resonate with you guys too, right? So there's a lot of people that you guys have the opportunity to learn from, right? There's, me and Tracy. There's lots of people. If you go on YouTube, your next guru is a stone's throw away, right? I mean, there's a lot of people out there. But the thing is, while a lot of these people have talent and there's a lot of great information out there, great coaches, great real estate entrepreneurs out there, the piece of advice that Grant Cardone gave was this. He said, pick your person, pick one person, okay, and go deep on all their content. So if you find that you're really getting a lot of value at one person specifically, maybe that person's us, right? If that is, then go deep on our content, right? Tune everything else out and just focus on one person and learn everything that they have, right? I don't know about you guys, but something that I look for when I'm looking for someone to learn from is I look for several things. I look for, do they have the lifestyle that I want, right? Number two, are they where I want? And I'm confident they can help me get there, right? And then number three, I look at, how's everything else in their life outside of just business, right? Because there are people that are financially successful, but they're bankrupt in other areas of their life. And so it's very important for me personally to make sure that when I follow someone, they have those big three, right? And so that's something that I really live by. I like living by in a way where if people follow me, they're going to be better in all aspects of their life. I'm not perfect by any means, not at all, right? But I'm very big on balancing business, lifestyle, and family. I think that's like super important, right? So I encourage you to pick your person, whether it's me or somebody else. Do that and go deep on everything they have, because that is the way to reach the steps and become successful that you want, right? The problem with following multiple people, right, is that one person may have one way of doing it, the next person may have another way of doing it, the next person another way of doing it, and so you're constantly bouncing, doing this like ping pong thing where you're back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And like, should I do it this way? Should I do it this way? Should I do it that way? Should I do it this way? And then you get stuck. You get like this glazed over deer to headlights thing. And before you know it, you don't even really know which step you should take, right? So that'd be, awesome. Cool. I can't see your name there. It just says Facebook user, but I appreciate that. So today, guys, what we're going to be doing, if you have chosen virtual wholesaling and you're like, virtual wholesaling is my thing, I want to learn from you guys and I want to get this thing rocking and rolling. What are the steps that I need to take today? All right. So let's break that down. We're going to dive into the baby steps here. Andrea, love it. Love it. All right. So the first step here, before we get into step number one, I want to talk with you guys about mindset. Okay. And I like calling these baby steps because it's very simple. All right. Things that are hard, you can't grow something that's hard, right? You have to keep things simple. Okay. So number one, when it comes to mindset, I want you guys to all understand if there's anything that you've been intimidated about when it comes to going virtual or wholesaling in another state, any thoughts that you have where you're like, is it more challenging than regular wholesaling? All that. I want you to understand you can throw all those out because virtual is totally possible. Okay. Virtual is a decision that you make saying, I'm going to go virtual and I'm going to tune everything else out. Okay. So there's going to be times where you're talking with sellers and those sellers are going to be like, hey, why don't you just come to my house and shake my hand and I'll sign the contract. And you may be thinking, well, this territory is like only an hour away, only 30 minutes away, only 45 minutes away. Maybe I'll go there and maybe I'll do it. But you can't do that. You have to make a decision that if you're going to go virtual, that's what you do. That's your company policy or personal policy. And that's what you're going to commit to. And you solely focus on doing deals over the phone. Okay. So understand virtual is possible, but the only way it's possible is you have a deep conviction and a belief that it works and that you're going to stick to it with all your seller conversations. The times that people feel like they have to drive to a seller's house is when they don't really believe that it's the right thing for them or it's the way they do things, right? If you have flexibility, then think about it. Like the seller's going to sense that and they're going to feel like there's another way, right? So you don't want that. So virtual is a choice. Going virtual is as simple as pulling a list. So this is one of the things that really just blew my mind in the very beginning because I used to think, man, virtual is complicated. Like I've heard from all these local real estate gurus that, you have to learn your market inside and out. And the best way to do that is living in the territory. And if you're not living in the territory, then how do you know about what's going on there, how to value properties? Properties are different. All these are false limiting beliefs that are designed to keep you stuck and held captive basically locally where you are, right? So just understand that going virtual is as simple as pulling a list. So if you can pull a list in your local territory, so you're from Florida, right? And you can pull a list in Florida, guess what? You can pull a list in Georgia. So that's how easy it is to go virtual, right? Don't overcomplicate it. It's not any harder than that, right? That's what you do. So when it comes to one thing, so this is very important. So I'm really passionate about the One Thing book by Gary Keller. A lot of you guys heard me mention that. It's a very good book. And the reason being is there's a lot of wholesalers out there who spread themselves so thin. They're like, maybe I'll go virtual. Maybe I'll do creative finance. Maybe I'll do flipping. Maybe I'll do these things. And it keeps them stuck because they're spread in all these different directions. And as a result, they go nowhere, right? They're stuck where they are. So just know that, you know, the way that you can have exponential success and take steps in the direction that you want is by committing to one thing. It's like super, super important, guys. If you haven't read that book, highly recommend reading it. So, and lastly here, personal confidence. Okay. So personal confidence is huge. You have to truly believe that virtual is the way to go and that you have picked the right opportunity to move forward. Because if you're 100% bought in on what you're doing and you believe virtual can work and it works for you, then guess what? There's no surprise it's going to work, right? So mindset plays a really big part into your overall success as an entrepreneur, but also as a virtual wholesaler together there. So I like to say that, you know, real estate, having success in real estate is 80 to 90% mindset and 10 to 20% education. Okay. So very, very important to have the right mindset, because if your mindset is off, then everything else goes off the rails. So you really got to have that confidence and that you're there to help sellers. There's no one better suited to call that seller than you, and you are the best opportunity that they have to be able to move forward. Okay. So that's what I like to open with here as far as mindset goes. So let's go into the first baby step here, which is picking a territory. Okay. So picking a territory can be kind of intimidating for a lot of people when they're first just starting out, because they feel like, you know, there's 52 states. Yes, that is the one thing right here by Gary Keller. Okay, how to get it? Sorry, Tracy, go ahead.
I dropped it in the comments for the YouTube crowd and the Facebook crowd. So it should be in the comments.
Boom. Love that. Love that. So, so when it comes to picking a territory, there's a lot of people that overcomplicate this and they make it crazy. They're like, there's 10 steps to finding the best territory and everything. Guys, it all boils down to 2 steps. All right. 2 steps to finding the best territories across the country. And if you have this method, sure, there's ways to dive deeper with it, but this right here is good enough to help you pick the best territories. And if you have this method, you can pick immediately the best territories across the country to wholesale houses from home. Okay. So there's some things that we look for. So the first thing that we look for, first step, is you want to look for areas that have a population minimum of 250,000 people. Okay. 250,000 people. That's super important. So the reason we say 250,000 people is because what I find is if you're targeting an area that is less than 250,000 people, chances are there's not a whole lot of demand there. Maybe it's a smaller territory. It could even be a rural area where properties are really spread out. There could be a lot of sellers there, but not enough buyers. And that's a really big deal, because as a wholesaler, right, making money solely depends on being able to have good buyers. So if that's the case, wouldn't it make sense to target an area that's going to have enough buyers and enough sellers, right? Doesn't do you any good if you have a bunch of sellers saying yes, but you can't sell the properties. And that's what happens to a lot of these wholesalers who are like, I'm going to go nationwide. So they start there because this guru said it, and they're going to do nationwide. And then they start getting all these leads from these areas in Bumhouse, you know, Alabama or wherever the territory is. They've never heard of it, right? And that's for a reason. It has like 10,000 people there, right? So you want to make sure you're picking the right areas and you're setting yourself up for success, okay? Because all the effort you're going to put in on top of this is going to be built on this, right? So if you're picking the wrong territory to start, you're setting yourself up to fail. Do it this way and you'll set yourself up to succeed, all right? So 250,000 population minimum. The next thing that you want to have, the second step, and I'm going to show you actually how to do this. So we're going to go to Google, and I'm going to type in, let's go to, boom. Okay. So I'm already here. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick a territory here. So I'll just give you an example. Let's say you're thinking about going into Hillsborough County, Florida. All right. So we're going to type in Hillsborough County. And if you want to actually drop a territory in the comments, I'd love to help you value or show you your territory to see if it's a good place to start. or if there's somewhere you're thinking of starting and you just want to confirm if it's a good area or not, go ahead and drop that in the comments. I'd love to dive into that and give you an answer right here, right now. So Hillsborough County. So I'm going to type in Hillsborough County population. Okay. So you can even put Florida. So look at this, 1.5 million people. So that is a fantastic population. That means there's a lot of buyers there. There's a lot of sellers. That means there's a lot of demand. It's going to be a big territory. And so it could be a great place to start. So that's checkbox number one, right? Checkbox number two, what we're going to look at is we're going to look at Hillsborough County, Florida, median home price. All right. So if you go to the median home price, and you'll find that by doing the search and then going to the Zillow link, it shows you that Hillsborough County's median home price is $386,000. But Chris, wait a second. What is median home price, right? The median home price, if you think about all houses like on a timeline, right? And you have the cheapest house on the left, the $50,000 houses, and the multi-million-dollar house on the right. The one in the middle, the middle home price, the median home price, that is the most popular type of house that's being bought and sold in that area. And it's the house that everybody wants. And so that's what we're going to target. We're not targeting like luxury houses when that's not what people want. As a wholesaler, we need to be focused solely on going after what everybody wants. Because if we target what everybody wants, then we're not going to have a problem finding buyers for it, right? So at that point, what we're looking to do here is identify if this is a good territory. So far we have 1.5 million people, and then we have 386,000. So what you want to look for in a territory is a median home price of at least 200,000. Okay, so this right here is 386. So you can see that, hey, this seems like a great territory. And ideally, what we also want to see is this number to be less than 450,000. And if this number is less than 450,000, that means the area is going to be a solid area for you to go into. It's going to be like a major metro. It's not going to be an area that's too competitive or too hard for you to get deals. And it's going to be that sweet spot where you're going to find enough sellers, enough buyers, and you're going to be able to move deals quickly, right? So that's what we look for there. So do you guys have any questions on that before I move on? Go ahead and drop any questions here in the comments before I move on. I like help narrowing down a good area in Florida. Okay. What are there any areas that you're thinking of?
Yeah, let us know. Be a little more specific there. Florida has a lot of very distinct areas, as you know.
Yeah, Florida.
What do you avoid? Why do you avoid Miami? Put you on the spot. Why do you avoid down there? What's the reason?
Well, so Miami, one of the main reasons that I don't really target Miami too much is because I've known a lot of wholesalers in Miami, and I've heard about some of the things that they've gone through, and there's just a lot of real estate fraud that goes on in Miami for some reason. I don't know why. Where you'll put a contract, a property under contract, and people forge documents and things like that, and it can be a very difficult real estate market from what I've heard, right? So Miami's one that because of that, I've known several big wholesalers there that they're probably some of the top wholesalers in the country, and they've done that. They were there and they've shared that with me. So that's kind of one of the reasons I've avoided that. So I also like to follow, follow the money, for example, right? Like Open Door, OfferPad, all these big institutions. I like to look at where those guys are going. And if they're there, chances are there's going to be enough buyers and sellers there. So that is kind of my mentality, but that's the only market. That part of town is like the only market that I haven't targeted for a very specific reason outside of I've known several people that have been there. They've had a lot of issues with transactions. And so I've just kind of avoided that. Not saying it's not a good market, but I'm saying that it's just one that I found there are other areas that are easier. And that's the beauty of going virtual, right? Is that if there's a territory that's really tough to get deals, like you don't have to do deals there. You can do deals somewhere else that's much easier, right? So let's see here. I do list at 450. Fort Worth is in Tarrant County. Fort Worth is a fantastic area. I'll break that one down for you guys here too. So let me go ahead and share this real quick. You guys can see this. So let's go to Google. Hold on one second. Google Voice. I love it. Okay, there we go. Perfect. All right, so let's do Fort Worth, right? So Fort Worth, TX, and we're going to do population. All right. So Fort Worth has Texas is amazing. It's a huge, huge area, right? This is almost 1 million people there. And that was in 2022. So, that's grown definitely since then. So almost 1 million people. So that's check mark number 1. So now we're going to go ahead and do median home price. Home price. Boom. All right. So we're going to go to the Zillow link here, 302,000. That is a fantastic combination. When you have a population that big and values are suppressed that are more around the $200,000 to $300,000 range, that is a fantastic market to go into. And so I highly recommend this being one of the markets that you target or a market that you want to start in. So Fort Worth is fantastic. How do you find the wholesaling laws of every state? Let's see. So what I like to do is I like to do there's newsletters that I subscribe to. Housing Wire is one of them. So you find out a lot about the changes there. There's a lot of local email lists that you can subscribe to in certain areas that you're looking to target. That will also send you emails about changes. You can watch, Instagram. There's a lot of reels there that people start talking about like changes that are going on in certain states. But really, I like looking at Housing Wire. That's a really great magazine and a great site you can subscribe to. And you get a lot of those updates as far as changes in the real estate market. So that's one of the ways that we do it. You can also Google an area that you're looking to go into. Type in, Real Estate Wholesaling Act. Type that in a specific state, and you can see if there's any laws that you should be made aware of in that state. So let's see here.
A good real estate investing attorney that can answer your questions straight up if you develop that relationship. Your title,
guys, that's even better.
Yeah, title company can also supply a list of different references and things that could be extremely helpful to keep you on track there.
100%. That is fantastic advice, guys. That's going straight to the horse's mouth. So if there's an area you're looking to go into, you can call a real estate attorney in that area. Like Tracy said, ask them if they're familiar with wholesale transactions. And if they say, no, what is that? Then you've called the wrong attorney. I would go into like a Facebook group, a real estate investment Facebook group, ask around for who's the best real estate attorney that works with wholesalers. And the person that gets recommended 3 times, that's the person that you want to reach out to. And then from there, you can give them a call, talk with them, and see what rules you need to be aware of in your area, right? So different rules are being rolled out in multiple states. And so I know that Illinois and Oklahoma are 2 states where you definitely need a real estate license to do deals there. There was a law that was put in place in Pennsylvania where half the state you need a real estate license, the other half you don't. So you really want to look into the areas that you're going to be going into. And if you have any questions about, what you can and can't do there, like Tracy said, contact a real estate attorney. They can definitely help you with that. Right.
Hey, Chris, I'm giving away The One Thing by Gary Keller to whoever lights up the chat most today. What do you think about that?
Boom. Love that. Love that.
Let's do it.
We thrive off the engagement. And Tracy's willing to send out one of those books to the person with the most engagement on the call today. I love that.
Absolutely. Let's do it. Ask your questions. Hey, Chris, I want you to check out for me, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, where I grew up. I'm curious what that market's doing right now. If you wanted to check if it's even worthwhile based on your parameters that you gave us today.
Yep. So Bethlehem, PA, and let's look at whatever county that's in. So that is in
Northampton, Lehigh Valley. Yep. So it's Northampton County and Lehigh counties. There's 2. It's a split.
Awesome. Okay, we'll look at both of those. We'll look at Northampton and Lehigh counties. So you could look at the city. I like looking at the county because that'll give you a much more complete picture of the area. So we're going to type in Bethlehem, PA count. We're going to type in Northampton County, right? County, PA. All right. And then let's do population so we can see what the population is in that area. Okay, so we have 318,000 people. So that seems solid to start, right? Because what we're looking for is a minimum of 250,000. So that is the first step that we look at. So this is checkbox number 1. So it's checked. Now let's take a look at the median home price. Okay, let's go to Zillow here. 321,000. This would be a great place to go. Great place to go. And if you look at this right here, lots of appreciation there too. Values are constantly going up, means more demand. So means you have no problem finding a buyer in this area.
Love that. It's an older community because, you know, the Northeast, right? Older homes looking for flips, and there's a lot of opportunity there. Plus, it's a historic town. We've got a lot of history and a very quaint downtown, so it's touristy also. So, yeah, just throwing that out there. Anybody who's looking in the Northeast, that's a good spot.
Awesome. Love that. Yeah, so Lehigh County here. So 376,000, minimum of 200,000 or 250,000. So it hits that checkbox. Let's go ahead and take a look at the median price. Okay. Boom. Look at this. 314,000. Again, great area. Lots of appreciation going on. So just that Tracy, that's definitely a great market for people to start in if they were going to go there.
I'm going to drop that county there in the chat if anyone's looking for a place to hone in on. By the way, I know some real estate agents there. If you need to make some connections with real estate investor friendly agents and you like that area, send me a message. I'll help you out.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, let's take a look at this one here, Henderson, Nevada. Oh, I already know that's a great spot. But I'll pull it up here and we can see what we got. So how do you guys like this two-step process right here for picking a market? Pretty simple, right?
I love it.
Let me go ahead and put Henderson, Nevada. We're going to do population. Okay. Again, 331,000 people. Boom. Checkbox number 1. And then let's go ahead and do median home price. Look at that. So 469,000. So like I said, you want to look for areas that have 450,000 or less. This area is starting to heat up more, but this is close enough to where you could go into this market and you could still contract deals. It isn't too competitive just yet. 450,000 is more of like a guide, but $19,000 over, I'm not going to, complain about that too much. And so I would say that this could be a good area for you to go into as well. There are less competitive areas, but like areas where it's easier to get deals. But if this is an area that you're looking at targeting, I would say it's got my stamp of approval just because I know how this area is.
How can you tell the area is heating up? Is there a heat map trend, or what are you looking at specifically for data to give you that information?
Yeah. So number one, I know a lot about Vegas and Nevada just in itself because I know a lot of people there who are doing deals. But the second thing is if you look at this is positive appreciation year over year, right? When you see this in the red and the arrow going down, that means the area is experiencing negative appreciation or negative growth. So the area could be cooling off a little bit at that point, right? And you can also take a look at the market overview here. So you can see it's gone up and up and up, right? And then it took a little bit of dip, and then it may just be going flat right now, right? At this point. So that's how we can take a look at that.
Hey guys, check out that all the free tools on Zillow.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is where he's looking. It's not like some top secret thing that top level wholesalers like Chris have like special secret access. I mean, I'm sure he does, but those things come also as a result of networking and getting to know people. But getting started is what we're talking about. And Zillow is an amazing tool to just get on there. And, you don't take everything verbatim. You got to do your research, of course, but this is a great tool to show all the things that Chris is proving here to us to be valuable.
100%. So like there are other tools you could pay for and even dive deeper into areas and things like that. But I'm saying if like you're just getting started and maybe in the past you've been really intimidated by the idea of going virtual by thinking, how am I going to know if a territory is a good territory? There's 52 states. How do I pick one, right? This two-step process is definitely going to be a way to help you do I found that people pick territories based on usually one or two things. Number one, they hear about it, it's a great area, and so they just want to double check using this two-step formula. Or number two, they have friends or family that lives there, they have connections that live there, and so they're going to see if that market's a good fit. For example, North Carolina was that for us. When we picked to go to North Carolina, it was because my brother-in-law used to live there, and we'd go visit his family. And so we go over there and we saw the territory and we're like, man, this is really nice. A lot of new construction taking place. It seemed like the area was just really growing fast. And I was like, let me take a look at this and just see how this stacks up against where we are. And I found that it ended up being a fantastic territory, right? So we ended up targeting that area. And that's one of the reasons we target there. But it didn't start out with us just looking at the numbers. It started with us going there and saying, this seems like a great area, you know? Let's dive into it a little bit deeper using this two-step system and see exactly what we're looking at, if it's worth our while to target there. A lot of people shoot themselves in the foot, right? Like they will say, no, I'm not going to go virtual. You know, virtual's too hard. They'll put this false limiting belief over their mind. And they're like, I'm just going to stay where I'm at right now. But they're in some type of rural area of Wyoming, and they're trying to force a square peg into a round hole. Maybe there's a lot of sellers there, but not a lot of buyers. But they're like, I'm going to get to my first deal and I'm sticking to this area, and you're fighting an uphill battle, right? So same thing goes for people that live in California and New York, like big territories like that, where it's highly competitive. Prices are through the roof, very difficult to wholesale. And, you know, you could put the same amount of effort in somewhere else that's easier and get deals faster. So a lot of times people think it's them, right? They're like, it has to be something with me. I see all these people getting deals and I'm not getting deals, right? And so they're like, is wholesaling for me? Most cases, it has nothing to do with you. It could just be the area that you're in is not really a great territory to wholesale, right? So like I'll give you an example here. Let's take a look at a really competitive area, right? So Los Angeles County, what is that? Oh, I guess it is just straight up Los Angeles County. Very good. So let's go to Los Angeles County in California, and let's look at the population there, right? So you look at this, 9.7 million people, okay? That was back in 2022. So very, very hot area, okay? Now, let's take a look at the median home price, okay? Median home price, lots of appreciation here, lots of growth, right? But the median home price is $871,000, right? So, say again?
Is that all?
Yeah, exactly right. Is that all? So this area has appreciated like really fast because there's been a lot of people that were moving there. Very desirable. You know, it's a major like downtown type of an area, and so it's very expensive to be there. So I've heard people that live in California spending as much as like $10,000 to get a deal in certain parts of California. And guess what? You can target areas that are a lot less expensive to get deals, that are less competitive, and when you have a better shot of doing more deals quickly. California is kind of like an area where it's like, you know, you're not going to do a lot of deals, but when you do a deal, it's going to be a big one because the prices are greater there, right? So I prefer to target areas that are not like that, where you can do a lot of deals consistently, and that's really what I look for there.
Love it. We've got somebody requesting Greenville, South Carolina.
Oh, Greenville, nice.
Yeah, that's a nice area.
Yeah, so let's look at Greenville, South Carolina. So Greenville, South Carolina. I think it's actually Greenville County, right? Yeah, I think it's Greenville County. And then we'll do, just to make sure, this kind of population. Okay, Greenville County, which is where Greenville in South Carolina is. You have a little over 500,000 people. Great territory. Let's go ahead and take a look at the median home price. Boom, look at that. I love this. It's not even 300,000 yet. And I've personally been to Greenville, and I can tell you that area is in transition to where people are just kind of discovering it. It's becoming more popular. It's starting to be like that new hip place where everybody wants to live. A lot of nightlife there, and it's a great place. But you could tell this here, and then look at this, 4% appreciation year over year. So that's huge, right? So, and you can look at it down here, how it's constantly gone up over the last 5 years. This territory is going to really, really climb in price. But you can tell it's a great territory. So that is definitely one that I target for sure. If you were going to target South Carolina, might have split the book, Tammy.
Oh,
Love that. Love that. So,
okay. So let me get back to trying to find if we hit all of the areas that people were dropping here. When I said I was giving away a book, all of a sudden we got some traction in the comments here. A lot of Fort Worth, Texas. We already addressed that. We talked about Greenville. I did Lehigh Valley in Pennsylvania. Anybody else have an area that you want Chris to take a look at? Maybe you've been thinking about it and you're not sure. And now with this simple approach to the criteria that is really required in order for you to identify if this is in fact a good area, this is a perfect time to throw that out there if you have something going on. I'm not even going to dare ask Chris to see if he can find something in Colorado Springs, Colorado, because for whatever reason, we fit the criteria, but there's not much availability. And it's just the transitory nature of the city. It's military, highly trafficked. So what are those factors? You do the screening up front, the amount of people that live there and everything fits, but then you go and look at inventory slow. What do you do in that?
No, great. That's a great question. And I know for a fact that Colorado is very, very competitive. Very desirable. You have a lot of transient people that live there, like people that own second homes, and that's actually a really big thing. So, like in certain parts of California, I want to say, where was it that I went in California? That's kind of similar to Colorado as far as demand goes and why this is happening. It was really beautiful place in California. They have a huge lake, clear water. Heather, what was that? California, where we went? No, the other place. There you go. Lake Tahoe. Thank you. That's what I was looking for. So Lake Tahoe in California is experiencing a lot of things that in Colorado. So you have a lot of people that own Airbnbs there, a lot of second homes. And it's crazy. Actually, in Lake Tahoe, the city said sent a communication to all the residents there saying, can you please stop buying second homes so new people can actually come into the territory and live here? And if not, can you at least sell one of your homes that you have, right? That's how limited inventory is. And with Colorado, you got Keystone there. You have a lot of popular ski resorts in Colorado, and owning vacation homes is something that's very popular there. So that definitely could be something impacting the inventory in the area. I mean, inventory has just been low across the country for the longest time, right? There's just not enough inventory to go around. And so that's what pushes prices up, supply and demand. But then if you layer on an added fact like that, where you have extreme tourism to the area, like that can really impact that for sure. But make no mistake, if you get deals in those areas, they will sell like that because it's highly desirable. You're going to be able to get over asking for your wholesale deal, and you're not going to have any problem whatsoever selling deals. But there are other areas that are easier.
So true. And that's where, we talked about this before, we won't get off track, but having your cash buyers that if you're in an area like that where it's a bit challenging, it's like passing the torch. You can literally pick it up, hand it off, and you've got the deal done because they're just as hungry as you are. And so now it's supply and demand. And when you happen to have the supply, there is a huge demand. So you definitely can find some things here. And when you do, like Chris said, it's a gold mine. All right. So Montana is a lot like what you're saying for Colorado. Low inventory, higher prices, and many celebrities purchase there, increasing costs to locals. That's very true here as well. So that's the beauty of virtual.
100%. Yeah, and there's a lot of outside factors like that, guys. So this two-step process is like a temperature check, if you want to think about it like that, for an area. And it says, does this territory deserve my time to dive a little bit deeper and see if it can be something worth my time, right? Is this territory worth my time and deserve more of my time to dive deeper into it? And that's this two-step process, right? If it doesn't qualify for the two-step process, I would just ignore it and move on to the next territory. Let's see, Jacksonville, North Carolina. Let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at Jacksonville here, North Carolina. Let's see, Jacksonville, if I can type today, North Carolina County. So that is Onslow County. Okay, Onslow County. So Onslow County, North Carolina. Whoops, a little backwards forward there, okay. And then we're gonna do population. So Onslow County has 207,000 people there, right? So this is 50K below the minimum that I like to look for, but I'm not going to totally disqualify this area just yet. I'd like to see what the median home price is, because there could be another strategy for this if the median home price is there, but the population's not. Okay, so check this out. So in this type of an area, you know, it's close, so you could target it. But what I would do, I would look at this as an area that you add on to something you're already going after, right? Like I'll give you an example. So let's say you are, let me click the Google map here. So this right here is Onslow County in North Carolina. Let's see another area that's popular here. So you have Wilmington, Fayetteville, Raleigh. Raleigh's huge, right? So this could be an area that you tack on to one of these other bigger areas that you're targeting in North Carolina. What I can tell you in North Carolina, you know, you have the triangle, right? Which is Charlotte Metro, Greensboro, Raleigh, Durham. These right here, Winston-Salem, these territories right here are the absolute best. I mean, these are amazing territories for real estate investors. So this Charlotte Metro is getting very hot, right? But all these areas here are great for real estate investors. One thing that you may want to keep in mind is if you see a lot of green here, this is the type of an area that has a lot of, it's very rural, right? So you want to see more white in an area like this because, give an example, people who target Charlotte Metro, they will tell you that they want to be inside this circle right here, not too far outside of this circle. Right? Because the further you get out here, the more rural it gets. So if you're looking to find buyers in let's see here, you know, you're looking to find buyers in Jefferson, right? Maybe a little hard to do that, right? Because it's too far away from the main metro that you're looking at. So, but that could be an area that you test. So I'd probably grab like 6 zip codes. I would do some marketing there and just see what types of leads you get. But again, with this one, what you're facing is a little bit lower population, which, you know, is not too bad, right? And the fact that median home price, let me pull this in. But the reason why I would consider it is because of this right here. Now, if both of them were below the 200,000, I would say no. But you have good appreciation here, so good demand, and you have prices that are a little suppressed there. So I think that could be a good thing to add on to somewhere else, but I wouldn't specifically just target this one area, just my personal opinion.
I love that.
Yep.
Has anybody found this to be helpful? I think going back to these basics and just really screening your leads this way, or your potential properties, or your target market, understanding just the simple basics can really declutter the mind, Chris, and really help not waste time and be so scattered. If you found this helpful, remember, we're still competing for this book. So light up the chat and let us know. And if you have any questions based on what we've learned today, or anything else outside of that pertains to wholesaling in some way or mindset, please let us know. We'd love to answer before we close out our meeting today. Chris, are you going to still share the screen? Do you need?
Sure. Yeah. Let me go ahead and go into one more thing when it comes to picking a territory.
Please do.
So the next stage of this, guys, so once you have identified your territory, the next stage that you want to do is you want to grow your power team. Okay. So there's two people that you really want to have on your power team. Number one, property inspectors. So what is a property inspector? This is going to be your boots on the ground in an area. So they can take pictures of your property. They can oversee showings with buyers. But a property inspector is nothing more complicated than a local realtor. That's it. The fancy name that we call them because they're literally inspecting our properties, right? So we like to network with local realtors because realtors are familiar with the types of pictures they need to take of properties. They can give you a lot of local area knowledge, helping you learn your new virtual territory very quickly, okay? And you can connect with realtors in a number of different ways. You can connect with them in Facebook groups, so join real estate investor Facebook groups and post that you're looking for a realtor to be your boots on the ground in XYZ market, right? And who do you know? And then the person that gets referred 3 times, the person you want to go with. So referrals, huge with realtors, okay? And then again, you can call local brokerages, but Facebook groups are huge for that. And all they'll do is they take pictures of your properties. They'll oversee your showings with buyers. So when you get a buyer that says, hey, I'm interested in this property you have, can I go look at it, right? You're going to get your property inspector to meet them out there and coordinate that with the seller. And they're going to go oversee that to make sure that they don't, try to take steps towards talking with the seller and try to snake the deal from you at all. I say snake because that's what they can be sometimes. So I never let a buyer go to a property by himself. Never in this lifetime would I ever allow somebody to do that. Because yes, we have the contract. Yes, we control the deal, but it doesn't matter. Like I don't trust buyers leaving them alone in a room with my seller. Right?
Oh man,
I built a healthy distrust of buyers in areas like this over time.
The reality of business. It's
oh my gosh!
Oh man, what is it? Buyers are liars, sellers are worse. I mean, come on, let's just.
That's 100% right. I love buyers, but man, they can be difficult sometimes. And it's amazing how many people in this business will trip over dimes to pick up pennies. Like they will burn a relationship with an amazing wholesaler because they wanted to get that one deal. But guess what? They're going to miss out on hundreds of thousands of dollars from all the future deals you could have done with them. So if you ever have a buyer like that gives you an uneasy feeling, or you find out they went to the seller around your back and tried to get them to sell them the property and cancel the deal with you, immediately burn that bridge with that buyer. Just move on, take them off your list and move on to the next buyer. We have a 0 tolerance policy for buyers like that on our list because, we are providing an opportunity. These are deals that buyers would not be able to come across without us providing them to them, right? And so that being said, there needs to be a level of respect there and an understanding of what's the right thing to do in a situation and what's not, right?
100%. Hey, Chris, you got to address this. I don't know if you can. Yeah. I don't want to cut you off. You're still working through this.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Sure. A couple of people here, I said, hey, let's start a little thread here in the chat to share what I've got, but what I need in this business. And let me throw up there. Maybe you can address a couple of these pain points in their mindset.
Yeah, sure. No, absolutely. And guys, I love the mindset piece, right? Because mindset, like I said, plays such a big role in your success in real estate or any type of business that you start, right? More than anything else. So let's dig into this for a second, right? Because I could share with you a quick fix for this, right? But I'd like to dig into this for a second. So if you have the knowledge, what is the piece of confidence that you're missing with that knowledge? See, usually I find when people have knowledge but not confidence to move forward, like they've heard something, but they don't truly understand it because maybe the person that explained it to them didn't explain it to them in a way that gave them confidence that they could see how it works, right? So information overload's a real thing, right? There's people that I can tell, like I'll give you a quick story. I was when I was first getting started in wholesaling, I went to this 2-day seminar to learn and hired a coach, but there was this guy in there who seemed to know every answer to the instructor's questions. Even before she'd finished the question, he'd give the answer. And I'm like, man, this guy's a stud, total freaking rock star. He's probably doing tons of deals. So finally, the instructor, she kind of paused teaching for a second. And she said, guys, I want to share with you a little bit about this guy back here. He's been, she goes, let me ask you, how many times, I'm going to share with you why he knows all the answers. How many times have you taken this class? And he said it like a badge of honor. He's like, I've taken it 6 times, right? Think about it, 6 times. It was a 3-day class. Okay. So that means he's, been in 18 sessions, right? And so she was like, yes. And how many deals have you done? And he goes, I haven't done any. Surprising, right? He invested a lot in his education, hadn't done deals. He had analysis paralysis. So he had all the knowledge and information, but he had a fear that subconsciously held him back from getting started. So it's very real. A lot of people have it when they first start, but the best cure for that fear and overcoming that is action. And I like to call massive, imperfect, and needed action. I want you guys to focus on progress, not perfection, right? And sometimes it makes sense, if you're looking for additional guidance, is to find someone who you want to learn from. And again, go deep on what they have, maybe hire a coach, whatever you'd like to do. But at the end of the day, whatever info you need to get that confidence so you can take a next step is your next game plan and step what you need to do.
100%. I have somebody here who's saying, wait, did I throw that one up before? Hold on a second.
You guys want to know real quick, while Tracy's finding that, you want to know the what's greater than the fear of failure? It's actually good to have a fear of failure, right? Because a fear of failure, at least in your mind, you believe that what you're going to do works, right? It's just a question of if you feel like you can do it, right? Like, it works. You see a lot of people wholesale, right? But your question is, can I personally do it, right? And let me explain to you real quick while that's a good fear to have as opposed to something else. So there's another type of fear that people have that holds you back even more than a fear of failure, and it's actually a fear of success. Now, some of you may laugh and you may think that that even exists. It does, right? The fear of success is where, you're going to go out there and you're going to start making your calls and you're going to talk to a seller, and that seller is going to accept your offer. And then it's like, oh, shoot, now what? Right? Now what do I do? Now, what if I don't know that next step? What if I don't know this? What if I don't know that? What if I don't know this? Right? And that can actually hold you back even more, right? So both fears, okay, are the same type, right? But they're very different, and that one can hold you back more than the other. But both of those can be fixed with the right guidance.
Yeah, I love that so much. And, I'd also think something to keep in mind as a perspective shift is also what your fear should be is not seeing your potential. Mm-hmm. In other words, your potential is revealed as you take the next step. You won't know what your potential is, and because you placed a ceiling on your potential in your mind. But when you take the next step, you realize, oh, wait a minute, I'm actually kind of good at this. I didn't know I was good at it because I held myself back from experiencing the process that's necessary to reveal your potential.
100%. I love that. I love that.
All right. So we got a lot of people resonating with the message here. That's me. Fear of missing out. Someone looks like they got ice dumped on their head.
I can't figure out what emotion that one is.
I know. It's like
stunned or
sweat. I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's good though that you're at least being honest with us.
No, I love that. Yeah.
If this is helpful to you, because Chris, there's a lot of lives that I've been on that it's straight shooting on the facts and the data, which is important and very important for us to move our business forward and know all the knowledge needed. But this is a big thing probably that's holding a lot of people back, scared of success. All of the things, fear of missing out. That's me. Okay. So a lot of people resonating with this. But, I wonder, Chris, in your experience with your clients that you coach, when you transfer them from a place of fear, now granted they have to do the work, but you're coaching them through the process. What are you seeing as the transformative on the other side? What's a success story look like?
Yeah. So, one of my favorite coaching clients that I've had, she came on board. She's 75 years old. Okay. This is an amazing story. She's 75 years old and 75 years young. Right. And she wanted to get into wholesaling, and she had a very, very quiet personality. Okay. She was scared to death, terrified of the phone. And she applied for coaching. And so I talked with her, and I got to understand a little bit about what she was, afraid of, what she was scared of. We got to overcome some of those things. But inside, I was like, man, she's very quiet. She's going to we're going to get her to a deal, but it's going to be challenging for her because it's her personality. She's very quiet. She's a very big introvert. Right. And I was like, we're going to pour everything we can into her. We're going to get her there, but it's going to be a challenge for her. Right. Out of nowhere, I would say probably, I want to say it was like at least, it's probably 4 weeks. Yeah. 4 weeks later, maybe 4.5 weeks later, she reached out to me and said, she's like, great news. I have a deal. Right. And so we looked at the deal together, and it turned out the deal had somewhere around like a $20,000 spread. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're great. You're like my silent assassin.
Love it.
But she had this big fear in the beginning, right? And she wasn't able to take action on any of the courses or anything that she took before. But after we had a quick conversation, kind of broke down some of her fears, she understood exactly what that was. And then she just got going. She followed the system in the process, and she was able to get her first deal, which is amazing. And I couldn't have been happier for her. So that's probably one of my favorite case studies that I have, because it was just like, if anyone on this live here thinks the odds are stacked against you, and you're like, oh, I have all these challenges, and this is why I haven't been able to do this deal. She had every excuse in the world to not be able to get a deal, right? Even the fact that I'm too old to do this, to be successful in wholesaling, or my season has passed. Listen, your season is only passed is if you pass it up, if you say it is, right? So, but if you refuse to believe that, and you believe that you can do anything that you want to do, anything that you put your mind to, you can be successful at, then that's also going to be true, right? So you have to choose your truth, and you got to be very careful of the things that you tell yourself. One of my mentors, this is a very good mental shift for you guys too, right? Rather than saying, I haven't done my first deal, I want you to say, I haven't done my first deal yet. Rather than saying like, I haven't been successful in wholesaling. I haven't been successful in wholesaling yet. There's a very powerful transition that happens in your mind when you're telling your mind that you are something as a matter of fact, or this is just where you are, but you're still progressing and moving forward because it's just yet. You're just not there yet, right? Something very simple, but in the mind, it triggers something to prevent holding you back from believing that you're just not meant to be successful, whatever it is. So you want to make sure you say yet at whatever those, when you have a false limiting belief like that, and that'll help you overcome it.
So Chris, I'm going to read a couple questions we have going on in the chat. Yeah. How do you compensate a real estate agent is number one.
Yeah. So the way that's a great question. The way that we compensate a real estate agent is we typically give them $50 for going and taking pictures of a property. Usually takes about 30 minutes. So we pay them $50 for taking pictures, and then we also pay them the same thing for overseeing a showing with a buyer. And it's well worth every single penny that you pay.
Yes. There's so many ways to incentivize them, because we used to even give them a little portion of our assignment fee. It just really depends on the relationship. You can structure it however you want. And another benefit to them too, this is something you can plant in their minds. You could say, hey, look, I come across I do a lot of marketing, and I come across a lot of leads that may not make sense for me, but could be great listing leads for you, right? So you wouldn't want me to pass those along over to you, would you? And they're going to say, well, heck yeah, I would. Great. So that being said, why don't we do this? I can go ahead and send you leads. And if you can send them opportunity consistently, maybe they'd even be willing to take pictures for free of the property, right? So, but I like to compensate the agents and then let the listing opportunity be kind of like an added thing for them, because they will crawl over broken glass for you if you're giving them opportunity in this market right now. Love it. Do you like sites like Easy Street to get deals?
Easy Street, kind of funny. I've never heard of that site.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'll look into that.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them out there that, I'm trying to think of the one I used to use. Briefly used it, but ended up finding out that it was just not where it's at. There's a bunch of them. But Zillow and PropStream is what Chris uses.
Yep.
And to keep it simple, as we've been saying,
Yep.
start there. You get a 2-week free trial with Chris. We'll drop that link somewhere here in the chat when we're done here. Looks like I think we've answered all the questions. We've got a ton of activity going on in the chat here. The race to win the book. I hope we got another. They are now in Texas, California, Nevada, and Arizona. I think. Are we referring to Easy Street site, or I'm not sure what we're referring to on that comment?
It may be a site you can sell deals or find deals.
Okay.
Guys, something that I found, I'll share this with you real quick, and then we got to get scooting here. But something that I found is that, again, like Tracy said, you want to keep it simple, right? So let's say you're looking to get started in wholesaling, but you have like no budget, like whatsoever, nothing for marketing, nothing, like you are bouncing back from your own setback, whatever that looks like. What I would do is I would call like for sale by owner properties. I would call owners of rental properties. So for rent by owner, call those, and you can most certainly get your first deal that way if you're in a situation where you don't have funds to invest, or things are just kind of tight for you and you're bouncing back from your own setback.
Yeah, and I would challenge you here with all the comments going on in the chat here. Reach out to one person that you resonated with in the comments and link arms and see what they've got, what you've got, put it together. See if you can get some momentum that way. A lot of people are afraid to take that step, by themselves, which prompts me to say, Chris has an amazing coaching opportunity for anyone who's looking for the next step. And to be honest, I've been in a lot of different groups out there, even groups of coaches that have never poured into this type of one-on-one value where you have the coach himself in the free group doing the lives, answering the questions, responding to DMs, doing the follow-up like Chris Logan does. So if you are interested in someone who's highly intentional and hands-on and is, constantly available, I don't want to say constantly, he has a life too, but available as much as possible to get you to the next level, Chris has a discovery call that you can apply. He'll share more about that in a moment. But if you're looking for that next step, or maybe you've been a little disillusioned with some other coaching or other people that you followed out there, and you would really like to move the needle forward and, capitalize on his experience and not waste time, money, and resources on, going in the wrong direction or getting stuck, or even worse, quitting. Chris, what do you got for the community here? I know there's been several people that have signed up for your coaching in my group, but love to hear more from you for those that have not heard much about it yet.
Yeah, sure. So if you guys are wanting to get the results that we're getting and our clients are getting, and you've liked what I've shared with you here today, and you're wanting to go deeper, you're like, hey, listen, this sounds amazing. I love how simple you keep it for us. And I really just need that extra accountability. While I like the lives here, I want that extra accountability that can guarantee that I'm going to get to my first deal, right? I've tried a lot of other programs and I've been spinning my wheels, not doing deals, and I'm ready to start taking action and invest in myself. It's not free by any means, right? But if you're ready to invest in your education, then what I recommend doing is applying to work with me one-on-one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link here, or Tracy's going to put the link here in the comments, and I want you to click that and fill out the form and be as detailed as possible in your responses, because I can't take on everybody, right? Just limited capacity. And I really have a commitment to my coaching clients, making sure they get results. It's one of the reasons we have a very, very high success rate with our coaching clients. And so be detailed in your responses. And if I like what you have to say, I'll consider inviting you in and bring you on as a client. It's a virtual wholesaling made simple.
Sorry about that. No,
you're good.
I'll get rid of that. Ignore that comment. My bad.
Yeah.
I thought I was pretty cool memorizing all of these things, but apparently.
No.
Hey, somebody's asking if you'll create a challenge for us, Chris. That could be something that could be fun.
Could be, yeah.
Do some kind of a game or something in the group, perhaps. Chris and I'll talk about that. He's got great ideas. So let's see.
That's a great suggestion. Tracy and I will talk about that, and we'll see what we can do. But next steps, guys, again, next week, we're going to be coming back again, and we're going to be breaking down the next set of baby steps for you guys to get going in virtual wholesaling, so you can confidently take steps forward and just know that the steps you're taking forward are going to get you closer to that end result. Super passionate about your success. And again, if you'd like to apply for coaching, go to virtualwholesalingmadesimple.com. Tracy posted a link in the comments. And again, I'd love to have a conversation, see if coaching's a good fit.
Sounds like a plan. Thanks, Chris. We went overtime today. I'm super thrilled about it. Hope you had a good time today and learned some great stuff from Chris Logan. Chris, thank you. And we'll see you next Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on a Wednesday here in the group. Thank you.
Thanks, Tracy. Thanks, everyone.